Nigel Farage, welcome to GBNews, your former home, having a pint with Farage.
Absolutely.
1 month ago today, you returned to UK political frontline as the leader of Reform UK. Has it been worth it?
Yes, it has. I think we were heading for a very, very boring general election campaign. I mean, basically, Rishi Sunak says, I know we're no good, but they're worse. And Keir Starmer says, vote for change, without telling us what that change would be. And to be frank, they're not exactly the most inspiring individuals either. So I think me coming into it has actually broadened the debate.
Perhaps they're serious people for serious jobs, like Prime Minister.
Well, if he's serious, tell us what he's going to do. Because all you've seen from Labour is play safe, play safe, play safe. What I did notice, though, was on the 6 priorities that he laid out, immigration, both legal and illegal, wasn't even mentioned. So we've had a lack of debate. I mean, have we debated defence properly? No. Have we debated foreign policy?
Well, the Tories have against Labour because they, of course, there's no commitment.
Marginally, very, very marginally. I mean, yes, they say, look, we're committed to 2.5. You're kind of
get there if you can,
havering on it. Foreign policy has it even been discussed in the election campaign? So I've tried to inject some fresh arguments.
Got you in trouble though on Russia. We'll come to that in a minute.
Well,
we'll come to that in a minute.
I mean, let's be honest about it. I mean, I said that 10 years ago.
I know.
Now, Boris said it 9 years ago, but now pretends he didn't. I said it 10 years ago. I'm not like him. I'm honest. I'm straight. I don't pretend, oh, no, it didn't really happen.
But it allows your critics to get their claws into you and call you a Putin apologist.
Which, of course, is a load of rubbish. But look, I am always straightforward. Yeah. If I really thought what I'd said 10 years ago was totally wrong, I'd say so. But, of course, this is one of the problems. I mean, politics can be a very rough game. So what I said in my warnings 10 years ago is turned into you support Putin. No, I think you support...
You're explaining the EU provoked Putin by its expansion eastwards.
Yes.
That led to a reaction from Putin, was your point.
Well, it gave him a casus belli.
Without defending what he did.
With his own... I never defended what he did. Right. Far from it. But that's life.
OK, fine. Your critics say this has been a gigantic Farage ego trip. Is that right?
Well, that's because no one knows who they are. They're just jealous.
Jealous.
If you have a look...
Yeah.
I mean, we'll come to Ofcom in a moment, I know, but...
You don't have to.
Well, we're jolly well going to, I can assure you. If you look at the social media side of this campaign, whether it's on X, formerly Twitter, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on TikTok, you'll find Reform UK and me just ahead by multiples of the other parties, despite the fact the Labour Party have been chucking £500,000 a week at it, and the Tories' money as well. We are winning the social media war.
They're not voters, are they? You know jolly well Twitter is not the electorate.
When you go across Twitter, TikTok and Facebook, yes, they are. Actually.
We'll see.
Actually, they are. And the problem we've had is getting some of the messages out through GBNews, ITV, and I can't even talk about the BBC.
Well, we do. We cover all the views of the main parties.
You have given us a tiny amount of coverage as a channel because Ofcom have laid down the rules that the key determining factor in how much you can cover are the last 2 general elections. I've never seen this ruling before this year, and I feel that all of you,
as a group of broadcasters, are being really hemmed in by Ofcom into not being able to cover what's really going on. So much out there beyond just a narrow linear broadcasting. I'm not sure this is where we need to be. This is your sell to our viewers. Well, when we last met in South Wales and you unveiled this contract with Britain, I called it then a Tory manifesto on steroids. You had all the halving the foreign aid budget, this cutting £5 every £100 spent on government spending, 1 in, 1 out legal migration, exit the ECHR.
How's that Tory? They've done the opposite. They've done the opposite on everything.
You've got all the key Tory things. And
No.
I'm
really sorry. The Tories have increased legal migration to numbers unimaginable. Boris Johnson introduced net zero policies that would have closed down 1/3 of our farmland in our country, raising the foreign aid budget.
My point is...
Raising the foreign aid budget was David Cameron's greatest achievement.
This document is aimed at appealing mainly to the Tory grassroots. Now, here's some numbers for you. You're on 20% in the polls. Tories on 16%, according to the GBNews People's Poll out at midday today. Labour's on 36%. Now, I'm no good at maths, but I think if you add 16 and 20, you get 36. So what you're doing is killing the Tory party by removing their support. If you withdraw all of your candidates now,
there could be a hung parliament, and you might get some of this through.
Number one, they destroyed themselves. If I'd gone to the Bahamas and fished for a month, they still would have lost this election very, very heavily. You'll find many of our supporters, if we weren't here, wouldn't bother to vote for anybody at all. A lot of our voters have never voted before in their lives, so the impact actually on the Conservatives is nowhere near as big as...
You think it's not, if you remove yourself, much less support goes to the Tory party? You don't think that's the case?
No, I would say maybe 25%. Maybe 25% of our support will go to the Conservatives, 10 or 15 to Labour, the rest will stay at home and simply not bother. They've destroyed themselves, and you know why? This is now the 5th manifesto in a row in which they're promising to cut taxes and reduce immigration. They're liars. They lie to the electorate. They get away with it.
You see,
they get away with
events have happened. There's been an invasion of Ukraine. That spiked energy. COVID happened. These things cost money to support the UK economy.
Hang on. They didn't need to lock us down.
You're not being fair to... You're being glib about it.
Why did they lock us down second and third time? Why was that done? We already could see what was happening in Sweden. We could see what was happening in Florida. There were sensible alternatives.
There was a debate, a balance to be struck.
There was no
And we'll see how that ends up.
There was no debate. You know, they and the Labour Party made the collective decisions on all of these
My
things.
point is, you're offering glib solutions to complex areas to win easy, cheap votes.
They ain't glib about it. This is actually a vision.
£5 off spending every £100. Easy.
Raising the level at which people start paying tax. There was a house
to £20,000 a year.
There was a house just up the road from where we are now. First house I knocked on yesterday. She said, I'm desperate to get back to work, but I can't. Why? She's on benefits. If she goes back to work and works more than 16 hours, she loses all her benefits. So we say no one starts paying tax to £20,000 a year. These are the sort of positive things we're proposing. And when you ask Reform voters, is it a protest vote? They say no, not at all. We really believe in these positive ideas.
It's quite interesting polling this week from JL Partners showing you surging among 16 and 17-year-olds. So you want to give them the vote, do you?
No,
you don't. But they're your new army of supporters.
I'm not a cynical politician.
Really?
I know. I'm
this
not.
Is quite cynical.
No, it's not cynical. That's absolute rot. It's visionary. You're right. If the voting age was reduced to 16, I could potentially clean up. I am like the slightly naughty uncle, I think, to this generation, and they're coming to me in droves. They really, really are. And do you know why? They actually want to get on, do well in life, and they can see that, you know, even getting a house, even renting anywhere, is now really, really hard for that generation.
It's not because you're famous and been on the telly and ITV TV shows.
No, it's because I'm infamous. That's what they like.
What would Churchill or Thatcher make of UK in the 2020s?
Well, I think Margaret Thatcher would be profoundly depressed to think that the size of a state had mushroomed, that the tax burden was the highest since 1948. During her period...
I understand that.
During her period, net migration was down to 0 at times. 0, which is what we propose going back to, which means people can come, people can go, but the net number doesn't increase the population. Churchill, well, look, 80 years ago is too long.
Just on your candidates, I mean, lots of reporting elsewhere on your candidates. Why do other parties not also attract racist, misogynistic and bigoted candidates?
They do.
Georgie Davis said that about your candidates.
Oh, yes, they
when
do.
She went over to
Hang on, the Labour Party has been racked with anti-Semitism for years. They even kicked out the man that led them.
They are suspending candidates.
Well, so are we. So what's the difference?
And is there a bigger problem with them or you?
Jeremy Corbyn led them in 2 elections. The Greens have had bigger problems with candidates than we've had. Not that you'd see that reported in the same way.
So you blame the report?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't quite know what I was inheriting a month ago. I've been honorary president. I've had nothing to do with the running of this for 3 years, and that's the truth. And you've never believed me, but that is the truth.
Well, you own the party.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't operate like that.
Okay.
And I've been a bit shocked at just how relatively amateur and start-up the whole thing was. It's not a criticism, but, you know, Richard Tice kept it going. I mean, he put £1 million of his own money.
Yeah.
Loans, yeah, but into keeping it going. Yeah. And, yeah, it was a bit of a shambles. So have we got some bad apples? Yes. Is it reflective of the broader party? No. We've got, and on this ludicrous racism charge, well, you can see Zia Yusuf is our biggest donor so far in the campaign. We've got plenty of candidates from all sorts of different backgrounds. the Channel 4 thing.
Yeah. Now the Essex Police have said today there's no criminal issue there. They're looking away. There's no investigation.
Well, the Essex Police can say that, but Ofcom need to do their job. Let's get to the bottom of what really happened here. That man, who was a posh actor, turned up as an Alf Garnett impersonator, did what he did.
He denies that. He denies that, Nigel Farage.
What? Hang on. He speaks with a posh voice.
So do you. Anyone can talk with a posh voice.
Yeah, but he turned up that morning. It was Call Blimey Governor, and it was Alf Garnett.
Okay.
The whole thing was an act from day one.